Okay, it's 5 o'clock. I'm going to call the Tuesday, February 1st, 2022 park board meeting to order. First item on the agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes from last month's meeting. Members should have received the minutes in their packets. Does anybody have any additions or corrections? Okay, hearing none. Need a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same signal. Motion carries. Kelsey, is that okay?
That's absolutely fine.
Second item on the agenda tonight is the attorney's report, and it is lengthy.
Try to be as quick as I can. So the first item for consideration is the resolution for the meeting policy for the coronavirus, and it's basically being able to meet by electronic means. I didn't hear from anyone, so I didn't make any changes to the resolution that I provided at the previous meeting. So tonight is consideration of that resolution as drafted. If you have any questions, you just let me know. You had tabled it from last month.
Additions, questions, comments?
And again, we can only make it more restrictive, not less.
Okay, so do we need a motion to approve this?
Yes, resolution, and I'm not sure what number to give it, one, so resolution 2201.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Dietrich. Need a second?
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor of passing resolution 2201, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, same signal. Motion carries unanimously.
Next item for consideration is the sponsorship agreement with Pet Suites. Again, this agreement was presented at the last meeting. The only update was to the time period for which it spans. And I realize we have people by phone, so maybe we should do ayes and nays for that.
Okay, if that's the way you like it.
Yeah.
Okay, we went over this our last meeting, like you just said. What was changing on this again? I'm sorry.
The term of the agreement.
The length of the agreement.
I believe last time I put it starting this year, but it actually starts in 2023.
Oh, it starts in July.
I'm sorry, it starts in July.
Of this year.
Correct. Existing partner we already have, this is a renewal. It's $2,000 a year for 5 years. They do corrections on all of it.
Comments, questions?
Seems like a value.
Absolutely. Anything else? Okay, I need a motion to approve the corporate sponsorship of Pet Suite.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, second by Mr. Probst. All those in favor, Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Probst.
Aye.
And I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is the use agreement with Tony Arcula.
Yeah.
And that is for a gospel outreach event that they would like to host at the Greenwood Amphitheater on September 10th of 2022 from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that event would occur on a Saturday. It's our standard use agreement.
We don't have any issues with the rental. Rental fee will apply.
Rental fee does apply for us. Okay, answer my question.
So Rob, this is several churches getting together.
That's kind of my understanding. It's a basically an outreach. And it's going to be same applicable song.
Any other questions or comments? We're hearing none. We need a motion to approve the use agreement with Tony Armula for the use of the amphitheater on September 10th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich and seconded by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
and I am an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is a use agreement for the Hitters and Heroes Beach Ball Baseball Tourney. They'd like to conduct that event in Freedom Park on May the 13th of 2022 throughout that entire weekend up until May 15th of 2022, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. all 8 of those days. And that's a Friday through a Sunday.
This is a carryover. This was an event that was planned for last year. I don't think they ended up having it. So it's just kind of a pickup where they left off sort of deal. We've had this event before in Freedom Park. It's very positive. It's well supported.
And again, they'd like food trucks, and I put provisions in the use agreement to cover that food trucks must stay on paid parking services.
Jim, you don't have any problem with them using the restrooms for storage?
No.
They're good. Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the use agreement for Freedom Park for the Hitters and Heroes Beach Baseball Tournament.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
and I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for your consideration is the entertainment agreement for the 2022 summer concert series with Country Summer. They will be playing on August the 13th of 2022, and their fee is $2,500.
Is this a new band?
They played here last year.
Did they? Did right past them.
This is your final. This completes some concert
Yep,
series.
yep.
Yeah.
Is our standard entertainment agreement.
Questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, need a motion to approve the entertainment agreement for the summer concert series with Country Summer.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dietrich and seconded by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is an entertainment agreement for the 2022 Freedom Springs Adult Night with Blue River Acoustic. They'll be playing on Friday, August the 5th, and the fee for them is $600. And again, it's our standard entertainment agreement.
Rob, have they done acoustic set before, or was it
So, yeah.
electrified last time?
No, it's acoustical.
Yep. Was it? Cool.
Keep bringing them back. We must like it. Huh?
People, I mean, they sell out every year. People, I mean, they live right in their backyard pretty much.
I
So,
think everybody likes them.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Local
They
control.
do?
Yeah.
It's perfect for that event. You know.
Questions, comments, any more? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the entertainment agreement with Blue River Acoustic for the Freedom Springs Adult Night Concert.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is food vendor agreements for the 2022 summer and fall concert series. We have agreements with New York Slice, Chomps, Hoosier Q, Smokehouse, Box Burger, Jones Kettle Corn, Kona Ice, and Kona Ice for all the fall concerts as well, summer and fall. Again, this is our standard food vendor agreements for all of those vendors.
We do all these one motion.
You can.
Who's your Q? Is that a new one? Who's your Q?
They were one that was in our pilot program last year at Old City Park.
Okay.
Seemed pretty popular. So,
My bad, they were very tasty.
yeah. So give them an opportunity to come over to the concert. So, yeah.
How's the New York slice?
Oh, they're not bad. I mean, I think everyone likes pizza truck.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the food vendor agreements for the 2022 summer/fall concert series with New York Slice, Chomps, Hoosier Q, Smokehouse, Boxburger, Jones, Corn, and 2 for Kona Ice.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Prost. All those in favor, Mr. Burke,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Prost,
Aye.
and I also motion carries.
Next item for consideration is a food vendor agreement for Freedom Springs Adult Nights, and that's with Smokehouse. Again, it's our standard food vendor agreement.
3 nights.
Very good.
Yes.
All right.
Very good.
Smokehouse, very good.
For those that like it.
Yes.
Are they as good as Johnson's?
What's that?
Are they as good as their brother Johnson's? No comment.
No, I go to Smokehouse one Johnson, so.
I like
Both good.
Johnson's. So are they all 3 nights?
Yeah, 17th, July 22nd, and then August 5th. 320 a show, 320 each event.
Maybe more of a food line setup that I would, really can't get a food truck inside the gates at Freedom Springs, so they have the equipment to do a serving line. Both ideas, so it works out well.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the food vendor agreement for the adult nights at Freedom Spring with Smokehouse Catering on June 17, July 22nd, and August 5th. I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is an independent alcohol vendor agreement for 2022 events. That's for Open Barrel and Mallow Run, and the events for Open Barrel, Pickleball Nights, Summer Concert Series, Fall Concert Series, Adult Nights, and Freedom Festival. Mallow Run includes summer concerts, fall concerts, adult nights, and the Freedom Festival. And again, this is our standard alcohol vendor agreement.
We do these in one.
You may.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the independent alcohol vendor agreements for the 2022 events with Open Barrel and Mallow Run.
So move.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Pro, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Pro.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item is consideration of a rental and service agreement for all 2022 events with Big Bounce. Funhouse rentals, that's breakfast with the bunny, touch a truck, and breakfast with Santa. The total for that is $1,741.50.
These are the same guys we use at Freedom Festival.
Yeah, so we'll come back with the Freedom Festival
Right.
quote, and then Kid City Christmas as well. We're trying to locate a train.
I believe they did similar things for us last year as well, so it's a very similar contract to last year's.
Questions or comments? Excuse me. Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the rental and service agreement with Big Bounce Funhouse Rentals for breakfast with Bunny, touch a truck, and breakfast with Santa.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is a use agreement with Greenwood Pride for their Pride Festival that they would like to have at Woodman Park on June 4th of 2022 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. That is on a Saturday. And I did want to say last year I used a similar, it was almost similar, the same as last year's. I just changed the location. Last year there was a request for a specific vendor for the year. I don't know if there's that same request this year. I didn't see it on there, but I still put in alcohol to allowing alcohol at that event.
So we have met with some representatives of the Pride Festival prior to this meeting. We were collectively to determine a site that was a lot less congested than what Craig Park's going to be with Little League. We do try to be a good neighbor to them. They already had pre-coordinated events that were going to take place. And for that whole area around there is very limited parking, south parking lot being occupied. So Woodland Park worked well with potential use of parking surrounding Woodland Park that you can walk into the park. I also recommended to the Pride Committee to partner with the school and see if there is some use agreement they do with the school as far as shared parking. And then people could walk over to the property boundary, the western property boundary of Woodland Park to walk in with that gate, very similar to what you guys do with the band invitational. I believe a representative from the Pride Festival is on right now. Lucy, if you'd like to speak on behalf of the Pride Festival or answer any questions the board may have.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
We have Lucy's
And-
phone.
And yes, we would like an alcohol permit. I'm sorry if that was not included.
So it's not an alcohol permit, it's just, the question is, are they gonna be allowed to have alcohol?
Oh, yes.
That,
Says food trucks, alcohol booths.
Yes.
Do we have Lucy's name for the record, the full name?
Oh, Lucille Bartley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. So you work, the staff and Pride organizers worked out using Woodland Park. They feel like it's an adequate facility.
Correct. We looked at some other alternatives other than Craig. Obviously, Craig is the premier kind of event location, just because of all the different conflicts and all the different activities and the very limited parking around that area. Woodland turns out to be a very good, not even a compromise in this case, very good location for their event. It has been discussed. We met with them in Zoom meetings. And they seem to be happy with that location.
Okay.
I will say as precedent, and this is not to sway any other way, I'm just letting you guys know what the park historical precedent is. We have not allowed alcohol anywhere outside of Craig, the amphitheater, or Freedom Springs. So they've never been allowed in any other park before. So that's just something for you guys to be knowledgeable of, to remember as for precedent.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question. If we set that precedent, we kind of open that door to just about any one of our facilities.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilman.
But I will say, the Pride Festival did have the event last year.
Sure.
They did have alcohol at that event last year. So as far as the setting the precedent for the event, that precedent's been set as
Right.
well. It's just the location.
Just we're cracking that door open a little bit more
Correct.
for all the park facilities.
Correct.
But am I not correct? We have, as a board, we can choose who we decide to have alcohol at the event. Is that true?
that's correct,
No matter what we do tonight.
that's correct.
I don't want it to get out of hand.
Sure, sure.
Lucy, this is Christopher Burton.
Yes,
Do you have numbers on how many people attended last year?
approximately 3,000 people last year.
Keep in
the-
mind, sorry, Lucy,
I was going to say, last year, I was not part of the committee that planned it, but I still was on the outsides of it. So I knew the planning process and what they did. And they planned the festival basically in a month. So there are a lot of variants that are changed this year. It's much more planned out. We addressed all the problems that they had last year and we're correcting them this year. And the one thing that about the consideration with the alcohol is, last year we had the police saying that they had not one incident in the whole entire park, with our group, with our festival, and that they wished all the festivals went that well.
Lucy, you say you're new to the committee that's forming this. Is everyone new this year or just you or?
No,
Sure,
no, Suzanne Fortenberry is the director of this, and everybody was involved last year. She was on the board last year. John Jones is actually the first person that established having a Pride event. So he was involved in the planning last year. So there's several of us that were involved in some way. We just weren't notified. I mean, we weren't like the planning director or assistant director.
Okay,
We were all there.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Lucy, I've got a question. This is Tim Schrader.
Sure.
Everything I heard about last year's event, I was only able to drive by that day. I didn't stop in, but everything I heard about it was all positive, nothing but good things. You mentioned that you guys have had a chance to work together and wrinkle out any problems that you had last year. Could you give me an example of some of those problems? I mean, I'm not fishing.
Oh, no. That's okay.
It just kind of raised my curiosity.
Well, the problem was when we tried to get some food trucks, because it was such short notice,
Sure.
they were all booked.
Okay.
So, what we've been waiting for is we have all of our paperwork kind of lined up. And then we will start contacting somebody once we had this approved. So that's one of the main things. We had Hoosier Brewery there last year, and people complained that it took too long to buy tickets to go, to be ID'd and then buy tickets. So those are the type of problems we had, just that going into the process, nobody knew that would be such a big turnout.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those were the only problems we encountered.
How many alcohol vendors are you projecting or looking to get?
We were looking at 3. We've already talked to Hoosier Brewery, and we are looking to discuss with Mallow Run and Oak and Barrel.
And how many vendors overall?
And I'd like to say we have walked Woodman Park more than once, kind of looking at the whole area. We love that area. It kind of gives us the opportunity to be away from everything that was going on in Craig Park. There was no problems, but it's just, people won't just wander in. They will be going there to attend the festival. And we are anticipating about 60 vendors because there's so much space.
So I attended the event last year, so I didn't count the vendors last year, but it seems to be about double the vendors. So
yeah, I would say double. That's a good. And the food trucks, for example, there were only 2 last year. And this year we're anticipating at least 10.
What about electrical needs?
We're looking at generators.
Okay.
One of the things that we will have to do is, find out if the food trucks have their own.
Sure.
And for electricity for any of the food vendors, most of them have their own in the trucks. Anybody who would need electricity otherwise, that's when we would go to generators.
Okay. My only, and I don't even know if it's a concern. It's like I was telling these gentlemen before the meeting, I like to live in the past sometimes. Some of the things we had with them in the past, we had issues when there was a big event out there, whether we knew about it or not. People were parking in the drive going into the apartment complex. So, I would advise these organizers to keep an eye on the drive going into the park so you don't line that drive with cars. Be mindful of the fact that we're surrounded by residents.
Right.
Apartment complexes. So, I'd also advise you guys to try to keep the vendors away from the property, boundaries close to the homes or the apartments.
Absolutely. We, luckily enough, I was very familiar with Woodman Park because my daughter was on the marching band.
Oh.
So I was one of those, fools sitting out at the top of the hill at Woodman Park, collecting tickets or running back and forth. So I'm very familiar with how the band handled it. And I know that one of the things they did was make up flyers and go out to the residents. And first of all, give them a notice about it, and then, try to help out on that. So that's one of the things we would do.
Okay, great.
We're also looking at having teenage people come and, just like at the band, we're organizing parking. So we will have a committee that's in charge of that.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. Need a motion to approve the use agreement for this year's Pride Festival at Woodland Park.
So moved.
Second,
Been moved by Mr. Burton, second by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Yeah.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries, and good luck this year.
Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you there.
Right.
Next item for consideration is amendment to the to the professional services agreement with Browning Day for the Greenwood Field House. So this is an amendment to a contract that was signed on November 7th of 2017. So they'd like to add some additional services in the amount of $4,320, and the scope is included in the amendment in 1A.
These are some site alterations from around the field house. So basically, it's going to be amended to our contract. I think Party C can end up ultimately funding this. It's not going to be Parks funds, but it's simple stuff is like doing some sidewalks from the facility to Story Away, doing some spot grades, make sure we're ensuring positive drainage, electrical conduits on the east side, doing some layouts of those, and layout connection walks from the existing stairs on the east side, where the air condensers are on the outside, and then providing a layout of the fiber optics as well on the side.
Are these additions or are they corrections to a property?
A lot of it's site additions, right? So it doesn't necessarily, it has a byproduct. The field house has a byproduct beneficiary of this, but it's also for the site development as well, for the surrounding development.
So
So
could I
we held the contract with Browning Day,
Sure.
and then this is an amendment to that. It was simpler to do it this way than it was to create a whole new contract just for.
So can I assume that this is, you guys are getting the project wrapped up, you're looking around, you say we need A, B, and C?
Yeah, and again, like I said, this is a byproduct of this, getting it ready for the overall site development as well, for those connection points, the conduits and the fiber optics and sidewalk extensions. But yes, it is some house cleaning.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the amendment to the public service agreement with Browning Day for additional services at the Greenwood Field House.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Dietrich, second by Mr. Prost. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Hey.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton. I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is the fireworks agreement with Corn Country for the 2022 Freedom Festival. Again, this is, I don't even know what year, multiple year of this agreement. It's basically very similar to last year's.
Yep, this is the standard fireworks agreement with Corn Country. Basically, the contract states that they'll pay and go under contract with the fire technician. They'll provide the soundtrack. They'll obtain the permits. They'll also broadcast sound music to the fireworks as well. And then they're allowed to underwrite any of the costs of fireworks also. They'll provide event mentions on the radio for us. They'll like Greenwood guests to be on the radio. And then the fire technician there to hire to be insured.
Rob, do you have a say in what type of fireworks they pick? Like the visual effect of it? Do they pick them all?
Not necessarily. No, we don't have necessarily a say. No.
I was just trying to figure out if it's the same, if we're seeing the same show, or is somebody actively trying to improve or get rid of something that didn't work?
So we do meet with the pyrotechnician every year, and then we go over what kind of mortars he's gonna be using, whether they're long range, short range mortars, based on the location where it's at. And then we work with Horn on the soundtrack that's going to go with the firework display, and we hear that soundtrack like that. So it's not like that we're totally surprised on the day of the event. We do have some knowledge of what kind of mortars are gonna be launching, and what kind of displays, and then what kind of soundtracks will be going.
And we are limited on the size of those mortars, aren't we? Just we got to find a location.
We're limited on the mortars because of proximities to other structures, to the railroad tracks, to the road, to the crowd offset. There's a lot of factors there that limit your mortar size.
Are we limited on height due to the airport?
No, I'm pretty sure we are. We actually launch off long range mortars versus short range mortars because we're doing it from on grade, on the ground instead of from a building or something like that. So that's about all I know. You're really testing my knowledge.
I'm just wondering how many I could see from my front door.
Yeah.
How many's gonna go high enough?
I mean, I'm giving this my best go here. It's not all I got.
We did good last year, so.
Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll need a motion to approve the fireworks agreement for this year's Freedom Festival with Corn Country.
So move.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Probst.
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
Consent for your consideration is an entertainment agreement with Toy Factory for the Freedom Festival. And again, it's our standard entertainment agreement.
One of the two bands that we are picking or lining up for Freedom Fest. Basically pick them based off of their draw they have for concert series in the past. The one more posted, not the most popular act we have, that will fit very well with Freedom Fest, and will be very, very good entertainment.
Well, they have a broad range of music.
They do.
I mean, I'm always surprised to hear how many different songs they can actually play.
I'm excited to hear them with like a proper stage setup, a nice amplified sound as well, which we haven't had that kind of setup before. Because we'll be down at the event hall.
So they're playing the big show this year because they've been here quite a bit. It's moving up. Okay. Any other questions, or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the entertainment agreement with Toy Factory to play at this year's Freedom Festival.
So move.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Probst. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Probst,
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
Consent for your consideration is a use agreement with Greenwood Public Library. They'd like to use Old City Park on July the 1st of 2022 from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's a Friday evening for their outdoor movie night.
I think they did something very similar to this last year.
Yes.
You guys were on Greenwood, they're a good neighbor, good partnership, so we don't have any problems with this.
Questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, need a motion to approve the use agreement of Greenwood Public Library for, looks like cartoons and what's it called again? I'm sorry.
I think it was outdoor movie night.
Outdoor movie night at Old City Park.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Probst. All those in favor, Mr. Probst,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
Next item for consideration is the independent contractor agreement for Sunnyside of Scuba to provide scuba diving services at the Freedom Springs Aquatics Park. Again, this is one that you've done, I believe, the past at least 2 years,
That is.
and it hasn't changed.
Is that Mr. Paul Burris?
It is.
Yes.
And again, this is to provide school lessons at Freedom Springs.
That's correct.
Correct.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the independent contractor license with Sunnyside School to provide school lessons at Freedom Springs this summer.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Burke, second by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burke,
Aye.
Mr. Probst.
Aye.
I also motion carries.
Next item is, we neglected to appoint a member of the Parks and Recreation Board to be a plan commission member. Again, that's, the plan commission meets the second and fourth Monday of every month. When they have business, and that's here at the Greenwood Common Council Chambers, I believe at 7 p.m. is the start time.
Yeah, I've had the honor of doing this for a year and a half, something like that. And our newest board member has expressed an interest in getting involved. So
I'd like to nominate Michael Probst.
second that nomination. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burke,
Aye.
Mr. Schrader. Aye. Mr. Probst.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Next item for consideration is change the user fees for the summer camp programs. I believe you've been provided a breakdown of those changes. And if that would be approved, then I would just ask for a motion to instruct the legal department to prepare a resolution reflecting those changes. Approval and approval of the fees, obviously. It's this right here. Yep.
Let's get it approved.
So this is the first time we've had, you're offering 4 different camps.
Yep.
And you're gonna have what, 15 each?
Yeah,
Okay,
25 in each age group, two age groups to get to the 50.
okay, 200 campers total for
Yeah.
all 4 camps.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's great that you're giving people an option.
Yeah.
Instead of just going with the same.
It's time. I
Yeah,
mean, it's the same,
so it's kind of a revamp. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea.
and now with the field house, we'll have more facilities.
Yeah.
More options, so. Dan's done a really nice job with planning for that, so excited.
When does this sign up start?
March 1st.
Is 200 the max number
It's,
this can handle? Or-
it's growth from last year, but I still, in the future, I think this is setting a good base for what future growth.
What have you had in your regular summer camp? What are those numbers?
Last year was 148. We had,
You sold out of that quickly. Didn't you?
yeah, it's not as quick as it used to be, but I mean, we added quite a few from the past, so we try to work with people.
The roadblock for summer camp growth is transport. It's bus drivers and buses. We could grow it very quickly.
Yeah.
Double 200, 400, I mean, in theory.
Yeah.
If we had transport for excursions, it would be an issue. But that is our biggest.
We only do a bus driver. Any other questions or comments? Need a motion to approve the user fees for this year's summer camp out of the being run out of the community center and field house.
And directing the legal department to draft a resolution that reflects those changes.
Just like she said.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Gordon, seconded by Mr. Probst. All those in favor, Mr. Probst.
Aye.
Mr. Burke.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
And I'm an aye also. Motion carries. I'm sorry about that, Kelsey.
That's all
I
right.
did hear you
No,
say
it's all right. Final item I have for you tonight is a purchase agreement, a contract for goods with Zedek. That's for Freedom Springs tubes, and the total for that contract is $12,483.05.
This is a, I mean, I'd say this is a typical expense. We usually buy a quantity of air tubes every year. Last year, I think we did have a year we didn't have to buy any because of the COVID ship only. Last year was obviously, we're a full operation. So this is a byproduct of that. This is what happens when your aquatics facility is at full capacity, full operations, you go with tubes. So this is part of the operations of it. We are seeking competitive alternatives to this as well. We have sourced one other place in Canada, but their prices are off the charts right now, but they claim to be of better quality. So we're going to buy a very small quantity, like maybe a dozen this year, and just see and throw them into the cycle and see how they fare. But we've used that ever since the facility's opened.
Made in America?
Zebic is, yeah, they're in Ohio, as the proposal states. Yeah.
What's the typical lifespan of the tube in a perfect world with, say?
I'm
doesn't get
gonna
used?
say this as politely as I can. It depends on who's using them and how they're being used. If you have someone sitting on them on the hot concrete tube and drag them, tube's not gonna last very long. If they go and they're being used exactly how they're supposed to be used and not being slammed down and people throwing their bodies on them as they're going down the inner tubes, that's why we're going.
Are these rubber or urethane?
They're urethane. Yeah. Urethane. They're clear. We prefer clear tubes because it still allows not to have that opaque. This when the tubes are in the lazy river, you can still see the bottom of the water for safety reasons. They just and we go through patches and they do throughout the whole year. Keep in mind too, we have a partner for this as well, so it helps offset the cost. Citizens Bank is a partner on this, and these are branded, so it's a Citizens Bank. So the partnership dollars do offset the yearly cost on this.
Doesn't seem outrageous to me. I'm looking at 70 units total, and it seems pretty darn cheap to me.
Right. But it's the year after year expense, which
Yeah.
we're going to look on try to put some into the rotation, a little bit more expensive too, to see if they can last 3 times as long and see if the economics are better on getting something like that. So, but for now, this is what we're going to do, what we're proposed to do.
Are there a lot of places that manufacture these things?
2 places.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There's 2 places that do that. Zebic and the place in Canada.
I would say you're lucky that it's only cost this.
Well, I'm looking at opening up an energy business.
Well, there's a 7.5% tariff on here. So I wonder if they're getting it from Canada.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
These are Ohio rates. You know that.
The end result, when we close the pool down, it's well worth
It is.
well worth.
And it is an operational cost. The aquatic centers are.
It's always gonna be there.
Have a lazy river without tubes.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the purchase agreement with Zebec for inner tubes at the Freedom Springs facility.
So move.
Second.
The move by Mr. Dietrich, second by Mr. Probst. All those in favor, Mr. Probst.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Aye, and I also, motion carries. Kelsey, thank you very much.
Of course.
Rob, can I just have one more question on this tube thing? Why the 2 quotes? Why are the two?
There's 2 different types of tubes. There's 2 different sizes tubes in those.
2 different sizes?
Well, and one is there, we can have right now, and the other has to ship.
Okay. You know about tubes too.
So I just read them.
Well,
Was it? I didn't see that in there.
I
Okay,
believe
now I
it's at
see
the
it.
top or, yeah,
I see it. It's not down there in the little part.
and it was in the email.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Parks Foundation report. Do you have anything?
Believe you do not have a report in your packets, but I will answer any questions on behalf of the foundation. These guys may have. I do know that the foundation is working diligently with the field house on the impressions and getting itemized costs on what the impressions have cost to make sure the sponsors are getting the impressions that they've signed up for. So they're looking at that and looking at getting that purchase here soon.
You sent out any notifications for donations lately, or
As far as sponsorships or for the foundation, just
for the foundation?
Usually we send out here soon, we will like friends of parks, we'll send that out, and then there's a parks or Paul's dog park fellowship as well. We'll send that out to ask for donations. So I haven't done it lately, but it's probably it'll come
Coming
up.
up, because I haven't received anything lately.
Yeah,
I like donating to this.
okay. We'll definitely do a call out for that. That's all I have. If you guys have any questions regarding the foundation, I'll be happy to answer.
Control report, right?
Sent out the report earlier this afternoon, starting with the 204, the Parks and Recreation Operating Fund. Main thing you'll notice is revenues were 72,546, spending 279,976. Don't want anybody to panic. Property taxes come in twice a year, so it'll be June before we really see much in the way of revenues there. It's also start seeing the Freedom Springs money hit, so right now it's just not when we get the revenue. The next one is the food and beverage tax. That one is one that comes in monthly, so you see the revenues appearing and outpacing the spending, which is great. SNR, don't have a whole lot of revenues coming in, but don't have much going out either. We've banked 20K or so in the first month, but as we start to get programs operating and going, you'll start seeing some of those dollars going out the door as well. Finally, your park impact fee. This isn't really the heavy time for construction or construction permits coming in, so that's why you don't see much in the way of impact fees coming in yet. So the spending going out is going to be outpacing that for a bit. Happy taking questions anybody might have, but it's early in the year, so we're not seeing a whole lot of revenues yet.
I have one question. This new tax relief program that's getting ready to pass the Senate, is it going to impact our parks budget at all?
The one regarding the business personal property tax?
Yep.
It very well could, because the way that the property tax system works in Indiana, we are allocated a dollar amount, and then the tax rate is determined based on the tax base that you're spreading that dollar amount over. If they change the way the business personal property assessments work, what we're going to be doing is losing property tax assessment dollars. So we're going to lose some of that tax base that we're spreading that out of, meaning our tax rate's going to go up. Where we're really going to see impact is the tax caps that were put into place in 08-09 that capped residential homesteads at 1%, rental properties at 2%, and commercial properties at 3%. What we're going to see is a lot more residential properties hitting that tax cap, and what happens after that is anything that's assessed above that cap, the loss is spread amongst the tax agents. So if we are, say, as the city, 50% of somebody's tax bill, and they're capped at $1,000 a year, they're assessed at $2,000, that's $1,000 loss to all the tax agents, and we have to eat half for the tax bill. So that could be spread across whatever funds are under that, and so that Fund 204 would be affected by that change, which is why the council did pass a resolution opposing that particular piece of legislation without a full revenue replacement. And right now, we're not seeing that in the state house.
Thank you. I just wanted it on the record.
Absolutely.
You can also call your legislators and email them.
If you got a connection. Reach out.
Anything else, Greg? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Parks report.
Got a copy of my report, get it quick, more than happy to answer.
Pretty good report.
Okay. All right. Under Parks report, you've got Northeast Park improvements.
Yeah. Give you guys an update. We're looking at proposing doing some extensive work at Northeast Park this year. To be funded by CDBG grant money, CDBG CARES Act money as well, right? Community Development Business Grant. From that aspect and into the CARES money as well. I'll run over kind of the site aerial plan with you guys. As you can see on the perimeter, all the way around, it's well over, it's almost 8/10 of a mile. There's a proposed loop trail. It's a 10-foot multi-use trail around the perimeter of Northeast Park. In addition to that, it looks at probably removing some of that hashed area trail. That's an existing trail, and then putting more of a north and south trail in as well, with access trails going into the existing basketball court and the skate park as well. We're looking at doing those additional trails, the loop trail northeast with the CDBG money that would provide local residents with a passive way to recreate and walk for health and wellness in the park. With CDBG CARES Act money, we would look at potentially removing the existing shelter house and demolishing that. It is a hybrid approach, meaning that it's a restroom and shelter house under one building envelope. With the CDBG CARES Act, we would look at separating those for that social distancing aspect and keeping separate. We'll have kind of passive security and see through as well. So the existing restroom, you can see is kind of indicatively proposed there where the existing shelter house is, just from the utility standpoint, and then the proposed shelter house is up there in the top corner there as well. Kind of presenting this in a public forum to kind of meet one of the grant requirements for public input as well. So if you guys have any questions on what we're proposing on doing at Northeast, I'd be happy to field any questions.
Moving that shelter house out there on that lawn, I can't really see it. Is you gonna have how are you gonna access that? Just across the grass? You're gonna put a trail to it?
That's a great question. So right now, the shelter houses and the proposed restrooms are kind of indicatively shown. And they will be the first things to be done, and then won't be reservable or anything like that. And then behind that, I will finish this drawing of the trails and all the trail connections to those as well.
That connection gonna be big enough for a vehicle to go to the shelter house to unload, or
Yeah,
still gonna carry from the parking space?
Yeah, they're 10 feet wide. Now, as far as a vehicle, they won't be vehicle rated, won't be vehicular access. But for parks maintenance trucks and stuff like that, service and the cleanup, it will be. But for people to park their vehicles, they will still have to park in that stuff. Now, going forward, we do have our eye closely on this area. Basically, that note says trees to be removed by owner. I am watching that area, and then we'll be hopefully proposing a parking lot there in the coming years, as far as kind of a 5-year plan.
Yeah, that was discussed many different times in many different ways. Trying to put parking, because one of the biggest issues up there was access, easy access when you rent the shelter house for the day. You've got to haul things back and forth. So any parking close to that shelter would be a welcome addition.
So it kind of goes on with the theme of how the skate park got funded and how that program worked. Similar sort of funding sources that are happening for these projects as well.
You've still got the soccer fields down in the corner.
Yeah, there's soccer fields down here, existing soccer fields. Of course, there's an existing softball diamond with the fence. And then in this area as well, I think it's set up for soccer fields also.
Have goals for the soccer fields?
Yes, there are goals.
Still have a lot of drainage problems out there.
Our primary drainage issues are right in this area right there. So you can see if it's right there in that middle. We're hoping, or I am looking into the levels of the site and going to get positive drainage. If that parking lot gets built, I can get some sort of stormwater system into that, and then we've got easy access to stormwater system there.
It's not as easy, it's not an easy site to drain.
It's extremely flat.
And the ground is extremely compact.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But the end result will be nice.
Absolutely. It just doesn't drain, but it never has.
Having grown up in that neighborhood right there adjacent to it, and going to that school as a child, great to see that improvement. It's long overdue. And it'd be greatly appreciated by everybody.
Oh, the neighborhood.
Be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
No. So all this is contingent upon getting the grant money.
We have, yes, we have the grant. The grants are going through.
Okay.
We are going full steam ahead. This is just one of those check boxes. We got to make sure we present this in a public forum for.
You get all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. What's the start date?
When's the start date?
Yeah, this year or?
Yeah, it'll be this year. It'll be this year. Hopefully this summer I'll be able to knock these out.
Sorry. Yeah. I want to be there when you tear that shelter house down. So,
Well, you'll have to approve it, so.
oh,
I think we'll all approve that.
I'll approve that.
Some of the things that won't be in the shelter house funding source from CDBG is the concrete slab, the demo of the existing structure, and the hookups of the new structure will not be in the, it'll be having funded by owners.
Do you still have a water fountain down by the skate park basketball court?
Yeah, it is right,
Brand new. Brand new?
it's right there. It's a little pad right there.
Well, this will be exciting, and it's been screaming to be something to be done out there for quite some time. So I appreciate the staff jumping in on this.
You said you had a walkway around the perimeter for exercise?
That's what is being proposed.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are proposing a 10-foot multi-use asphaltic trail around the perimeter.
That would really-
I have a question. I rollerblade, and if your aggregates are too big in your asphalt, the rollerblade becomes kind of difficult, if not possible. So you might want to investigate granular sizes of your asphalt, make sure it's smooth enough to handle.
It'll be our typical detail we use in all of our Greenwood trails,
Okay.
which we've never had any issues with anybody rollerblading on any
Okay.
of our trails. So the aggregate size and the binder that's used on our top left on our asphalts
Okay.
are the smaller diameter to allow smaller wheelbase to roll over smoothly.
That's great, looking ahead, thank you.
Keep us updated.
What's gonna be the speed limit on that trail? Just so.
I'll depend on your rollerblading.
25.
Anything else for Rob? Anything from staff? Okay, thank you, Jim. Next item on the agenda is the trails. We have AES appraisals.
Yep, formerly known as IPL. In your package, you guys should have had the proposal from Volker, which they're an appraisal company, to do 14 appraisals along the IPL, which is formerly IPL AES trails, but we're going to call it, for lack of a better term, $2,000. They're going to charge $2,000 a parcel, $28,000 total. And then I would like to also have you guys consider having them negotiate the prices as well for 14 parcels. That's $2,075 for each one of those. So total cost would be $65,975. So once we get the land acquisitions, when we get the land acquisitions, this then begins the process, hopefully get this trail. Developed. Funding source for this would be the tax.
We always called that over there the power lines. Growing up. So
Yeah, so I will call it the AES trail, just so we know for identification purposes.
anything that happens to that property is gonna be an improvement.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, I do anticipate though some remonstrators against this, just so you guys know, from preliminary doing this, so I'm prepared for that. Just think the board just needs to be aware of that as well.
And I don't believe I've prepared professional service agreement with Volker yet, but I will, if this is approved.
Proof contingent on.
Any other questions? Need a motion to approve the. Say this, Kelsey.
Motion to approve the services with Volkert contingent on legal's final review of a professional services agreement.
For a total of $65,975.
So moved.
Second,
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich.
aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Mr. Pros.
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries. Recreation report.
I just have a copy of our department's report. Appreciate you guys approving all 40 items I had this evening. So. 10 bus trips are underway, buddy.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to sign up. Yeah, I hope you get some action on those this year. It'd be nice.
Where's Rising Star Casino?
I think that's the one, BB, or yeah, BB.
BB.
It's gonna be a while. We got it.
Yeah, it's south.
Switzerland County.
Up there.
So,
Rising Sun's between. Southeast.
Switzerland County, Indiana.
Okay. Questions or comments? Thank you, Nick. Fieldhouse reports.
We go back up, like
Oh, sure.
under the record report, there should be a community camp out.
There was, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
For you guys' consideration, we kind of introed it a little bit in last month's our board meeting regarding to having kind of a theme camp out style at Freedom Park. There's a little bit more detail there for you guys with regards to site size, maximum number of people, and then what we would charge per site and how many sites we would have, and a quick narrative of what kind of basically the event would work on and how we will keep developing it closer to the date we get for your guys' approval.
Well, yeah, I think this is a great idea. Are you looking at sponsorship for this?
I think we will. Yeah, there's no doubt.
I think it screams sponsorship, you know.
And as I said to Rob, in order to do this, we would have to go to common council and ask for a change to the ordinance, because as the ordinance is written now, you can get a ticket for being in the park overnight. So that's an OB, an ordinance violation at this time. So we have to change that.
Will we have to go to their meeting?
I don't think you would personally have to
Well-
go, but
We did a few years back, we had to go.
if you would like to go, I mean,
Oh,
you're
no,
always
no,
welcome to go to common council
No.
meetings. And to voice support, you can do that as well.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If there's a noise ordinance and
Yes.
and the park board can approve a band at the park, and that is basically the variance. for
So
that.
they couldn't, right? Because it's the Board of Public Works. If they need a waiver from the noise ordinance, they have to go to the Board of Public Works for
Right.
that.
But they own Freedom Park.
Yes, but so for instance, you didn't approve the ordinance that makes a ticket for being in a closed park. The common council did. So they set the rules for the whole city. And so that is an ordinance violation. So we would have to change, similar to alcohol. So when we wanted to change for alcohol, there's a a city ordinance that says on all city property, you can't have alcohol. We asked for that change so that for parks properties, it's at the discretion of the parks board, so. it
We
is
wouldn't
similar.
have to change the rules. We would just need to get a variance for that particular
So
event.
we would change the rules so that you could do it going forward as well, so you wouldn't have to go
So we can do it forever.
every time. Yes,
So
so similar to the alcohol, when alcohol happened, it'd be similar to that.
the board actually, the deed to Freedom Park is in our name?
Yes,
Because I know some of the properties aren't.
I understand that. It's Freedom Park is park board property.
Okay. And now I've always heard this rumor that you could get a ticket. For being,
Yes, you can. I enforce them pretty frequently, actually.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
color me surprised.
It's usually teenagers, if you want to be. Yeah.
Are you going to stipulate a tent maximum, a maximum size on tents?
I think you specify by how many people per site, and that'll dictate your camp site size.
It makes a pretty good sized tents these days.
Yeah. 20 by 20 sites, pretty decent size. I mean, it's
It's pretty big, yeah.
a liberal size. That's a big tent.
It's a big tent.
And I'm sure there'll be some on-site adjustments made if need be.
But it's a family event. It needs to be two.
Right.
So we figured out which staff members are.
Yeah, Jim's volunteered for the late night shift.
DJ's gonna spend all.
Yeah. All right. We don't need to bring any action.
No, so if that's something that the board is interested in, then
Yes.
I can move forward with drafting the amendment to the ordinance.
I think it's safe to say that the board is
Yeah.
behind this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I love the idea.
I do too.
It's long overdue.
Now we can go to field house report. Copy.
Should have a copy of the field house report. As you can see, not much has changed with the membership count. A lot of that's from Green Friday. We plan to push our membership sales through marketing once we feel closer to our grand opening and we know what date we're looking at. As far as loose equipment, we started bringing a lot of the larger items from parks maintenance over to the field house, start building them, such as like the pitching yellow screens and things like that. Monday, they actually start the epoxy flooring. They're gonna start prepping for that, grinding the floor down. That's the lobby, the ramp, as well as the long corridor running north and south on the west side of the building. Also, the front desk was installed. I think it was either last week or the week before, and it looks very nice. So I'll check that out. Got it.
Starting the epoxy on Monday, so they've already been in, done their moisture tests and everything.
Yeah, it's ready to go. So yeah, they'll start grinding Monday. That's what they're saying.
I know she got the entryway well underway off of Madison.
Yeah, looks clean. You can't go up that drive now. They just want any large heavy trucks driving on it.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Any other questions? I'm sorry.
I'd like to mention, thanks, Ricky, for the tour.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm always available.
Thank you.
Okay, community center report.
Guys have my report. If you have any questions?
Numbers keep going up. Seems like I say it every month. Place looks great every time I go in. Kudos to you and staff. Bye, everything for Sharon. Thanks, Sharon. Other business from the public? Any other business from the board?
And we did close on the property, it's a little over 6.5 acres on Cutsinger, as you guys approved. We paid finance, coordinating the wiring on that and legal. They record the deeds on those as well. So just let you guys know, it is a multi-departmental effort when you do land acquisition. So we added 6.5 acres to our land coverage.
Signing the claim that's already been done. If there's no other business coming from this board tonight, this meeting is adjourned.